Hi, welcome to your chess channel. Thank you for visiting it. Here we go. Let's get into this. This is a 5-minute game, of course. That's what I'm doing. That's what I do here, and that's my forte. And so here we go. This is a lightning game that I've just played. It's hot off the press, so it's like hot cookies or hot chocolate. We all like hot chocolate, especially when it's raining or whatever, which it isn't. But anyway, who cares about the weather? This game is played against a player that is 60 odd rating points above mine, and so it's just been played right now, so it is a very, very good game. I believe it is. It probably is rubbish though. If you put it on the computer, it's probably rubbish, because do I know the openings really well? No, I don't. I know about the first 4 moves of this opening, or several moves of it. So I play the Worrell, which I don't have down to a T what is actually happening here and this is how I beat the international master Gary Lane in Lightning Chess. That I was the only New Zealander, so I can be reasonably pleased with that, to have beaten him when he was here in New Zealand 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now. But anyway, so my opponent more or less plays the same sort of system of the Cosio knight ge7 eventually. So my opponent's actually played a deferred Cosio defense, and this is very, very deferred because knight ge7 has just been played. So I keep on going, and now I play d4. Okay, now am I threatening anything? Not really. So anyway, we have status quo for my pawns in the center. I have status quo. Bishop g4. Now black is obviously threatening to capture on f3 or on d4, because there's nothing I can do about. I'm now only defending this pawn once with this rook on d4, d1. So bishop e3 I defend. Now comes the dreaded move f5. Now this was difficult to meet. So how do I play against it? I could play e5. I could play taking and go from there. I could I think that taking is probably about the worst idea possible, even though I can move my queen out here to check, but it's not very good after d5. So I think taking is probably about my worst situation here. Yes, you know, I played. So what would you play? So in this situation, if you're white, you're looking at it from the right point of view, not to say I win or not or anything, but what would you play here in this situation? Because that's what chess is all about. Maybe e5, yeah, maybe e5 would probably be a very good idea to play, because the pawn isn't going to want to take, is it? Because after the pawn takes, although I've got this, all of a sudden I have this problem of once the queen goes somewhere, like let's say the queen goes to c8, I have this problem again of now the black knight is threatening knight e5 and that sort of thing. And even if black doesn't take, black might just play d5, or might opt for something else. Might opt for f4, which will be, we don't want to do a new variation here because that's going to change everything. So this is really quite sort of up in the air what can happen in this situation. So we will go back to the actual game, which is f5. And did I take the pawn? Did I play e5? Did I play d5? Did I play queen c4? That's a possibility. Queen c4 check is a possibility. And then I can't program the move in as a variation, because then the whole game is going to be lost. The whole score will go somewhere off into the blue yonder. So here we have this situation here of I could play queen here and then look to defending my knight, but then it's still pinned, well, the bishop still pins my knight to the rook on d1, which is still unpleasant, even though it's not terribly bad. So here I play h3, okay? So you guessed it, yes, David biffed the bishop, and I was expecting my opponent to play the next move. What did my opponent play for the next move? What do you think you'd play as black? So it's your move. This is quite good. It's your move, and I know that I have to write that down because it is really good. It's your move a lot. So that's really, really, really the best thing for your chess. And I'm not saying that my move or my opponent's move is the I'm not saying that my move or my opponent's move, we're not grandmasters. I don't think he is anyway. I don't think he's a grandmaster. I'm not saying that our moves or my moves are great or whatever, but it is still good to think, what would I play here? So my opponent took the pawn, okay, and now I'm obligated to take this bishop on g4, so I won't go on about that, and my opponent's sort of obligated to take the knight, and I'm going to take back with the pawn, of course, for obvious reasons, without disclosing the obvious. King h8, getting away from the problem of checks maybe causing an issue to black's defenses or attack. Now, one thing I've learned, now what would you play now? I'm not saying that my move that I play here now is the right move, but I learned a long, long time ago, when you have double pawns, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a wee hint here. When you have double pawns, or when you have double pawns, David, it's best to what? Move them. So I move them. So I just keep to that principle, even though I don't completely understand it. But if I leave it back here, then maybe black will be able to fasten it down somehow. So if black could get g5 in and h6 in, or h6 and g5, knight g6 and knight e4 and everything like that, my pawn will be hampered on f3. So I play f4. Now this obviously prevents this times 2, because other than my bishop attacking it, which it wasn't, so black could actually play g5 here, because I'm only defending my pawn twice on d4, and if I capture on here, then black could take the pawn with the knight, or not really. It's not actually too good, David. So if g5, if black was moving and it was g5, then bishop g5, knight d4 is no good because of queen e7, but I'm not looking into it further than that. Black has knight f3 check and knight takes bishop, so it's quite interesting. So anyway, I'll play f4. So this f4 move, I can use this f pawn for a battering ram sooner or later or so. But anyway, we won't go on about that too much. b5, and I go bishop b3, yes, and they're going to play soon here with knight a5. I know. Knight c3, I'm not attacking the pawn, it's just status quo. and here I play b3. Now if my opponent now plays knight takes e3, I'm going to play fe3 every day of the week. I'm not going to take with the queen because it's going to be a little bit anti-positional if I even understand what the word positional means. So b3, my opponent went back to knight d6 because they consider their knight, which I probably would agree with, as better than my bishop on e3, my dark squared bishop. I played queen f3 with obvious ideas of wanting to capture this d5 pawn. So what would you play here? Clearly knight e4 is not very good because I just merely pick up a pawn. I have a choice. I'd probably take it with the knight and then the bishop, the pawn. So black plays, yes, the solid c6. And now what do I do? What would you do now? Now, I'm actually developed and black still isn't, which is a reason why I won a previous game to this as well, because my opponent left the queen on, as white, left the queen on the home square, the indigenous square for the queen, just about almost the whole game. And I was in the middle game for like some 10 moves or 15 moves. So I just, so what would you do here? So we can plan for white because we're in the middle game. So we can plan for white. Now, obviously we can first of all think, well, do I want to play f5? Or would I like to play g5? Or would I like to play my rook to e1? So would I like to play this? 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 As I've already said, it can be a battering ram. Would I like to play rook here or something like that, or knight here and here and f5? You know, that's a possibility. Meanwhile, black might think, hang on, I better get developed, because I'm not quite developed, even though my opponent's a very strong opponent. So what I did was I planned for the h-file. Now, first of all, I have to get my king out of the way, so I moved my king up to g2. Okay. Now, I'm going to threaten just a constant barrage of rooks and queens even on the king side. And if I get a queen here, it's checkmate, isn't it? If I get to take that pawn, it's obviously checkmate. So knight g8 happens. Now, this knight may be the nemesis of black's position from here on in, because they don't do very much about the problem of they don't do very much about the problem of the attack that white has all of a sudden just magically got. So I played rook h1, so obviously I threaten something. What do I threaten? I threaten bishop g6, because the pawn cannot be recaptured, as everyone can appreciate, as rook is checked. So black plays queen e8, defending against my threat. So, and black sort of pseudo developed, but this is still on the back rank, the queen. So she still wants to come out of there. So what do I do? Yes, I just go rook h2, and I'm just going to bombard the h7 weakness. So in chess informata, I think that weakness is shown with an X for illustrating a weakness. I believe that black has a weakness on h7 and g6, and clearly missing their f5 pawn, which has gone away now to capturing my knight eventually on f3. Rook a7. Okay, so basically black is parrying my threat. So I play the most obvious move. That's what I'm going to do, is I play rook a h1, and now we're clearly threatening checkmate. So what does black do now? They move their bishop to f6. Now, should I play g5 here? And then the bishop will probably go back there, and I just go rook h7 is checkmate. So that would be good. If I go, what if I go g5 here, and then just bishop back and rook takes h7? See the arrow? I'm obviously threatening the bishop, but black would be able to just take the pawn with the bishop. Okay, and then I would start to cry. I'd be crying a lot. So is that what I do? So black's now defending the two weaknesses here and here. So what do I do now? I play queen h3. Of course I do. If I play g5, then everyone can see that bishop takes pawn, or g5, f g5, rook f3 is reasonably good for black, I think. Queen h3. Now what am I threatening? I'm still threatening checkmate. Can I give up on threatening checkmate? So I'm now threatening checkmate again. Because how? How am I threatening checkmate? Is this. Okay, we'll show you. Okay, new variation. We love you, computer. Queen h7, rook h7, rook h7, checkmate. See, the computer told us so. So it must be true. So now I could play g5, but it's black's move now. So what does black do? I think they move their queen up. Yes, they do. So now they're defending against this onslaught on the h-file. Look, this is typical a la David Wegener sort of style of chess, where I just sort of try and throw everything at them. So now what do I do? Now, because I like Gary Kasparov so much, what do I do? Who likes to bring everybody to the party? I play knight e2. Now, what am I threatening? Well, I'm not exactly entirely sure. I don't even know if I'm threatening anything. Although I have idea, I was sitting there in a 5-minute game thinking, what now if I played knight e2? This knight is obviously nowhere, and I'm wanting to bring it into the king side. So as soon as I move it from c3 on the queen side to e2, I've moved it straight away to the king side, and it can probably come here, or it may support something else. Okay, so play knight e2. So what does my opponent play? My opponent plays rook e8, thinking, ha, I have now a knight on e4 that I can establish, and if the knight goes there, I'll just swap it off. So now what do I do? Yes, I play the knight g3, you all guessed it. And now my opponent plays knight e4. Now, what was my next move? And what was my next two moves? That I'm not saying that it's the only way for black to go, but what was my next two moves? Now the first move is coming right up right now is this move, F5. Now if I look at it, I can find things here for black, but they're not even good. Say for instance we go knight G5, and then we're defending, aren't we, another time this pawn, or maybe we just leave our knight there. The bishop can't move here. The bishop can't move here because of aforementioned checkmates. And so black does the sort of normal kind of move, because I'm actually threatening this move here. So if I was black, I'd probably, knowing what I know about this position, I would probably play G5. Cancel. I would probably play here G5. But black played here, for those who wish to have a wee exercise, knight takes knight on G3. And as I do with my juniors, I do not allow them, yes, allow them to move the pieces around like I do a lot. I do a lot, move the pieces around. So after knight takes G3, what was my move that caused my opponent to resign on the spot? So first I will tell you, after knight G3, yes, you guessed it, well done, I played FG6, threatening the queen, and then the whole game of black collapses, because then I have 5 or 6, is it 6 or 5 points, all aiming for the enemy king on H7 weak point. So I've got 5 things, and black's only defending with 3 things, because their knights come off the diagonal from the B1 to the H7 diagonal. So the knight has relinquished. So here we go, as promised. I will now show you knight G3. And so this is very, very nasty indeed. Now if black just moves, or there's no checks or anything with the knight, or bishops or rooks or anything, there's no checks. If here, then I can take my pick on pawn takes queen, or just queen H7 check and finale. So notice this knight here that moved here early on in the opening, it stayed there for the whole game, and it hasn't really defended H7 very well. So that's the end of the session. I do hope that you have enjoyed this encounter, that I hand-picked for you this position. So if black was able to move here now, if it was black's move, then we'd be all good, because then the position would be one for black. But there's still some wee trick here. Now let me just make an obstinate move for white, queen G6, and then there's still this move here, which is neither here nor there. This is no good, because of what? Not bishop G5, because then queen C2 check, and black has defended themselves, and after bishop takes G5, black's actually got a 1 position, and then their knight can move out. Anyway, that's the end of my session. Before I go on much longer, I don't want to do that to you, sorry. Thank you.